and we'll explain why they're here and what we're doing with them. So today we're here to announce that the police department is launching our campaign, Together We Could Prevent Auto Theft. And it's an auto theft prevention campaign, obviously, and we're going to target some of the new ways that through our investigations and through some of our data, we see that cars are being taken in different sections of the city. And we'll talk about that. Just to be a little precursor to this, as we went through the COVID years, a trend with carjackings started in Philadelphia. We really attacked that problem with our federal partners. We formed a task force. A lot of arrests were made, and that we really were able to eradicate that problem over those years. That problem trended into the theft of these vehicles. Some of the thefts were targeting specific vehicles, and it became very easy, and it was publicized how to steal those vehicles. And during that time, we gave out the car clubs, and we really started to tamp that down. But the newest trend that we're going to talk about today involves the technology that really they were able to expound on and use for theft. They're using technology to take over keyless entry, key fobs, copy it remotely, and steal your car. And we have lots of easy preventive ways you could stop that. And we see areas of the city that are being specifically targeted. It's happening all over the city, but in different areas are being targeted more. So today, as part of this campaign, we're going to start going door to door in some of these locations. It's why the recruits are here. They're going to be utilized in some of these areas starting today. They're going to knock at the door, hand out our literature, and talk about the preventive steps that Lieutenant Brian Gear from Major Crimes Auto Squad, who's also here today, is going to explain to you more thoroughly and what to do with some of these to stop this technology from getting your car stolen. We realize the car is one of the most valuable things some people have. They need it for work, they need it for emergencies. We don't want to see that stolen, so we want to do everything we can to stop this trend and end it very quickly. So I'm going to turn things over to Lieutenant Gear. He's going to show and explain these items, and then we're going to talk to people about how you can get them. The car clubs, I think some of them are still available if you have a specific type of vehicle that sponsored those for us. But we'll talk a little more about how you could get these preventative measures and tools to stop these incidents from happening. So I'll turn things over to Lieutenant Gear.
Thank you, Sam. Can I talk here? Is that loud enough for everybody? Yep. Okay. Gonna take this with me.
Yeah.
This. I put it. If I put it in front of me on the table. Okay. All right. So I can go over each individual device for the recording. Okay. These different things up here are what we're recommending to the public to help prevent some of the methods of auto theft. This here is a Faraday box, and these are Faraday bags. They block the signal from the devices from being captured by criminals out there trying to take the device. So this one here is just big enough for a cell phone, and once it's pushed inside, it blocks all the signals coming to and from that cell phone. This is what we're recommending for individuals that like to key their car door, their keys by their front door. It gets tucked away inside and it blocks the signal from the proximity device. They'd like to use a method called a relay attack to steal vehicles. It's not as problematic in the city right now, but we're getting ahead of that one. They will take an antenna near your front door. Another person with another type of antenna will extend the signal from your proximity device to that car to open the car door, push start the car, and drive off. On this side, we have visual and physical deterrents. This one is the club that everyone's pretty much acquainted with. This is another device that loops around the steering wheel, and then it locks into the seatbelt. And then there's a lock and a push button to release that from the actual steering wheel. These devices here are what we're recommending right now for the latest trend. These are for the onboard diagnostics port, the diagnostics port underneath of the driver's side of the vehicle. These devices slip over top of that device, and they protect it from what the device is that the individuals stealing the vehicles are using. They are using a keyfob programming device. They're connecting to the car's computer, and they're downloading a PIN code and a passcode into that device, and then they are creating their own key fob. So they'll take a blank key fob and they will put it in that device and create a new key fob. Some of these devices, they actually can emulate a key fob when they get that PIN and passcode and drive away and make a key fob later on. This one here is a metal one that works with a key, so it latches onto that device and then locks into place. The only thing with this type of device and that device is if you're going to get your car inspected and the diagnostics is going to be passed, you're going to need to have that handy for your mechanic to get that off of the car. So the commissioner talked about the things that'll be handed out. So these are going to be tips they're going to hand out to the public. How not to be a victim of theft from auto, stealing items out of your car, how not to be a victim of carjackings, and how not to be a victim of auto theft. So they're going to be recommending to always secure your car, take your keys with you, park in well-lit areas, don't leave your car running unattended, always be wary of where your keys for your vehicle are. And that's pretty much it for what we have out here. These will also be contained on another pamphlet that's being handed out tonight with these.
That's really it. I don't know if you have any questions. Go ahead, Nick. Well, we're still, I mean, as you know, we talk about it a lot, we're down in many of the crime categories. Stolen autos, we're slightly up, I mean, and we're compared against last year. I think if you look at last year and this year from the year before, it was up high, especially in the types of vehicles where it's a push-to-start vehicle. That seems to be the ones they're targeting. Not to name specific cars, but there are specific cars they're going to. You'll see the individuals doing this pull up in a car. We have videos. And let me just see that. I'm not going to like advertise this item because it's causing us a lot of grief, but it's this big, and they're able to use this to steal the signal between the fob. If they detect the fob and the car, they're able to create the other fob, and then basically your fob's no good anymore, and now they have a fob to drive away in your car. It happens very fast if you see some of these videos, and somebody will come out and their car will be gone. If their car's recovered, their fob's no good, because the fob they used is something that took over their fob.
You would go to your dealership or a locksmith, and they're going to have to come out and do the same process. That's what these guys are actually doing. They're using a locksmith device and a dealership device for when somebody has a lost key fob. It's called a lost key function in these devices, and what it does is it wipes out the previous key fobs and then creates a new one. So, yes. So, I was able to purchase all these online, except for the yellow one again. They were donated by the previous problem we were having with the Kia boys and the Kia thefts. So those are what we were recommending for the Kias and Hyundais. We recommend them for any auto theft because they're a physical and visual deterrent. Once they get into your car, you already had a broken window and a broken steering column in some instances. And the Kias and Hyundais, they actually put out a software fix for their security system that isn't noticeable until you try and steal the car. So we recommend them just for the visual deterrent and then stop them from going in your car in the first place. The orange one, this one here, I purchased this for about $40. The metal OBD lock I got for $50. The plastic one with the two-part system with the screw, and it's a unique like star screw head, that I got for $27. The whole kit of Faraday, the box and the 2 bags, was $27. So yes, the club is probably going to be we have, so those that we have there for the Kia and Hyundai owners, we have in all 20 districts throughout the city that they actually give out. If it's not a Kia and Hyundai and they wish to buy their own, they're anywhere from $35 to like $70, depending on what you're going to purchase. Other things we also recommend is tracking your vehicle in the event that it is taken. We have, let's see if I have it in here, the air tags. So in the event that it is taken, it will help us, assist us in locating the car. So there's similar devices like this out on the market, but this is just the AirTag GPS device. The manufacturers also offer some services through them. So Honda has a Honda Link, Acura has an AcuraLink, and then there's a Sirius radio system. Low jack is still something that we use quite often. So there's other options out there.
So what I'm saying is that if you have to pick one vehicle, put the money into protect the car, what would you get?
Depending on the Kia and Hyundai, I would recommend the physical deterrent and the visual deterrent. Right now, the latest trend is the keyfob programming. So I would go with the OBD locks that are in the middle of the table. That's going to prevent them, because that's what they need to connect to download the PIN and passcode to then create. Now, going forward, we expect they could move on to this here, and that's where they're going to be stealing your signal. So that's the Faraday bags, but that's just a good precaution on its own. So if you're traveling, you're going somewhere, you have to go somewhere and hand your phone in, and you can put that in the Faraday bag. They're going to hit all 20 districts throughout the city today, are going to have citywide. Well, the hot spots are, it varies. I mean, the hot spots are all over the city. Right now, most of your push-button cars are like 2015 and newer, so it's going to be where a lot more of these newer vehicles are. One of my biggest concerns right now, and the community in that area has made it known to us, is the Northeast. And that's a heavily populated area. So. We can get them out to everybody. Well, we still have low jack devices in the patrol cars throughout the city, so that when we're in an area where that device is giving off a signal, it'll help us direct us to where that car is. The Sirius, you call the manufacturer, and there's GPS in the vehicles. They have GPS antennas, and then Sirius will be able to tell us where within 500 feet approximately that vehicle may be. No, they're going to have to, that's why I said they would want to look into doing that now. It's more difficult after the fact. Some of these services have to be turned on while you're in the car and enabled. If the car's stolen, it's hard to do that. If they have a subscription to Sirius, whether the radio's on or not, yes, it can be tracked.
So the big issue right now is they have to get into the car?
Yes. So yes, they're entering mostly through the same ways they've always stolen cars: broken windows, through a sunroof, defeating the lock in the door. Yes, they could. So what'll be the next thing is just rampantly stealing people's signals. And there's stuff you can look on the internet, and there's intercept devices that are different than what I talked about before, but they're not as frequently used. But if the manufacturers and the devices that we're recommending for the OBD locks start cutting down on the numbers, we can expect people to move on to other things.
How long does it take for someone to steal a car? Are they stealing multiple at one clip?
With the keyfob programming, I've seen them steal a car in under 2 minutes. And most of our most prolific offenders are out there multiple vehicles a night. Well, some specifics of where they're being resold are part of current investigation, so I'm not going to get too deep into that. But they are recovered sometimes in clusters and areas where they may be sitting somewhere to make sure that there's no GPS that's tracking them there before they move them on to somewhere else. A lot of them we still see are people just doing it for the joy of stealing a vehicle. So they're not getting transitioned to another area. They're just sitting there. We're recovering them in 2 to 3 days. So that's pretty much two options right there. And the individuals are stealing them to go out and commit a secondary crime. Well, one of the things it's been out in the news before they were stealing cars was the signal in the chip in your credit cards. So even with this device here, if I was out shopping and I had if somebody was out shopping and had a purse, they would put their wallet in their cards or something in something like this that's big enough to hold that. That would. They could do that, but they haven't gotten that far yet. There's a difference. There's an issue with if I'm going to steal your key fob just by stealing the device and directing it towards your car, I have to know where your car is, and there's a limitation over the space of how far that can happen. Well, the manpower challenge in investigating it isn't horrendous. It's the manpower challenge on the street, because once we recover them, and there's so many stolen out there, that it does take a lot of time to have officers sit on them, have it recovered and towed away. There's a, yeah, just right now it's just the clubs.
So we have video, as you know, in every police car that's out there now. So we have a lot of cameras that are set, thousands throughout the city. So if we have a tag number and we put that tag in, if it hits one of those, we see it. So we are doing that now, and we could track vehicles, and that's how we do recover some vehicles. It'll be more robust as all the cameras get turned on, but we do have capability to do license plate reading, and it's being done by patrol. Yeah, we have the capability of seeing it. The other thing that you got to realize is you got to know your tag, right? So your cards and all that most people keep in the car, if that gets stolen, you don't know your information, that's a problem. So that's the other thing you should do as a tip, is keep your information with you, and so it's safe, so that you could at least tell an officer, or take a picture of it, put it in your phone, so you could at least have the information to put out there. Thank you.
It's something that's on the department's radar. It's been going on for a while. It's different crews that operate out of there, and it should be investigated.
Thank you.
Thank you.